The one thing that has the biggest influence, the biggest factor that has the biggest influence on your brain's ability to focus is your diet. Now, the modern day, the modern day diet has been infiltrated by these food companies that put sugar into our products, our food products. The sugar industry has convinced the whole globe that animal fats are bad, meat should be consumed in small amounts, and that a low protein diet is better than a high protein diet. And a high carb diet with low protein is the best way to go about diet. Okay. And what has this led to? Rising cases of ADHD like symptoms. People are in class and they can't focus, or their mind simply gets zoned out. People's internet addiction has gotten worse. People's attention span has gotten worse. Not only because these apps are short form content and you receive information every 2 seconds. So now, when there's a video like this and it's 10 minutes, you can't focus on it. You have to scroll down to the comments for some stimulation. It's not only that, it's also the diet you eat that has a play. Now, if your baseline is this, if your baseline is this way, you can't focus, and you say to me, oh no, diet has no effect, try this. Okay, try this actionable step. Okay. This is a proper actionable step. I want you to cut out pasta, rice, spaghetti, bread, white bread, brown bread, anything that is not a single ingredient food, cut it out and eat meat. Okay, eat meat for a day. The next day, try to eat a bowl of oats and read a textbook and see how dumb your brain is. Okay, I'm going all in and specializing into focus. Okay, I think there's this modern pandemic where people struggle to focus. Literally, people around me. When I speak to you, I can tell if you're focused or not. I can tell by the way your eyes dart around the room and move around. I can tell whether you're focused on me or not. Okay. What are the benefits? What are the benefits you get when you swap into this diet? Okay, this diet of pure primal eating. What are the effects? Okay, one effect is your testosterone increases. Okay, because you're not putting processed BS inside your body. Okay, so your testosterone goes up, therefore you'll be more inclined to do more work. That increases dopamine, and there's this positive effect. When you feel better, you do more work. When you do more work, you will feel better, and this positive feedback loop. So it increases your testosterone. Number two, most of your facial issues, okay? When I mean facial issues, I mean your acne breakouts, okay? Most of them has a connection with diet. Now, I used to struggle with crazy acne breakouts. I used to struggle with a lot of acne breakouts. One day, every morning I'd wake up and just all of them on my face. I'd go to the mirror and pop like this, pop everything, and come up with scars, and I'll be bleeding. My parents would shout at me. So we had enough of this bakwas, okay? So me and my sister were taken to the dermatologist. The dermatologist prescribed us some products, sunscreen, retinol, and benzac gel, okay, benzoyl peroxide. So benzoyl peroxide and retinol. I used to apply that. It helped for a bit, but still I was having breakouts. And I decided, man, I'm not doing this skincare thing anymore. Let me just use the sunscreen on its own. And I changed my diet from a bodybuilding massing diet, that diet for building muscle. I changed it, okay? I changed that diet, the high carb diet, into a slow carb diet, okay? Search up what slow carb diet is. So slow carb diet with a lot of meat, okay? And I've never felt better. My brain is sharp, okay? Very sharp, okay? And as a side benefit, my skin has cleared out. Okay, maybe there are a few, one or two dots there, but it's worth it. Okay. The second benefit is your skin clears out because you're not giving yourself this process. Think about it. Think about it. Did our ancestors have acne, or is acne just a modern disease, a reflection of our disgusting peasant diet? Think about it. Did your ancestors in some part of Africa, okay, did these guys have acne? No, they didn't have acne. And if you tell me, you're lying to me. Okay, they didn't have acne. They had clear skin. Okay, they had straight teeth as well. Why do you think our teeth are so messed up? Why? Because of our modern diet. Okay, we're eating soft foods. Okay, our ancestors biting meat. Okay, proper hard meat. Okay, dry, hard, wet, sometimes even wet meat. Okay, they were biting that off, and that developed their jaw muscles. Okay, their masseter muscles, and gave them this strong warrior look onto their face. And as a result, their palate was wide, and their mouth could fit all the teeth. Now, when I go about in class, I see people with crooked teeth, one tooth, teeth there, one tooth there, just messed up. I used to be like that. What did I change? Well, number one, I got braces. That's one of the things I changed. Two, started eating like my ancestors. Okay. Let me briefly explain to you something. Okay. Focus is driven by three neurochemicals. Okay. These are endogenous within the body, produced within the body. Endogenous chemicals, okay, produced in your body. There are three of them. Acetylcholine, which we've mentioned before on the channel. Dopamine, which we haven't mentioned before, briefly mentioned. And epinephrine / adrenaline. Let me explain to you. Let me make it simple English to you, okay? Adrenaline is responsible for activating your fight or flight system, okay? You know that system where you're about to get your exam marks, okay? And that's that's your sympathetic nervous system, okay? Your fight or flight system. Your fight or flight system, as suggested by the name, biases movement, okay? So you're more likely to move, more prone to move in your sympathetic nervous system. So imagine your nervous system having two branches. One is parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, the calm side, okay? The calm side, you're about to go to sleep, you know, that calm feeling, parasympathetic. You're with your boys and you're laughing, and then you say I love you to your boys, no homo, and you share a lot of love and connection, human thing. That is parasympathetic. Sympathetic, on the other hand, is fight or flight, ready to move, go, 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 go. If I see a saber-toothed tiger, you get me? That sympathetic nervous system, okay, biases movement. I'm more likely to move. Why do you think people who are people who are very sensitive to caffeine, why do you think they have jitters? Haven't you realized, okay, if you're one of those people who are very, very sensitive to caffeine, you have these jitters. We spoke about this, caffeine releases adrenaline from the adrenals above the kidneys, okay? And this high, and especially when you are sensitive to caffeine, your caffeine releases a lot of adrenaline, okay? Now, this high surge of adrenaline makes you prone to move. So even if you're still, you're like this. You know, we had a speech day, and there was one of my friends sitting next to me, and his hand was shaking like this, okay? Why? Why was his hand jittery like this? Even on stage, he's with the paper, okay? He's with the paper like this. Why? People say, oh no, he was scared. That's partly true, but why? Because he was getting ready to either fight, because he was under stress, either fight or flight, run away. So his body had a higher surge of adrenaline, which gave him the bias to move. Okay, you understand? That's why you jitter like this. Okay, now that's adrenaline, activates your sympathetic nervous system. Let's talk about acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the molecule that directs, in this context, that directs where your attention is being placed. Okay? It is responsible for directing and narrowing down where your attention is being placed. So right now, I'm focusing right now on you. Right now, I'm focusing on you right now. So my acetylcholine molecule, okay, let's just talk about it like this, okay, in my brain, directing me to focus towards you. Right now, I may be looking at the time. My acetylcholine molecule is making me focus onto this clock. See this? That's what acetylcholine does. Okay? In this context of focus, it drives focus. Okay? It is responsible for maintaining and getting into a focus state. The third one is dopamine. Okay? Dopamine is a pleasure molecule. Okay? A pleasure molecule, a reward molecule, and it's responsible for the pursuit of something, the motivation to pursue something. Okay, that's dopamine. Okay, we need all three to enter a focus state. Let me give you an analogy. See the car as your focus, the steering wheel as your acetylcholine molecule, the oil, engine oil, as epinephrine, adrenaline. For a car to run, the engine needs engine oil, but it's not enough to keep your focus going. It's not enough to keep the car running. If I just put oil, the car won't start without fuel. What is the fuel? The fuel is dopamine. So in hindsight, you need to get focused, alert, and you need to find your work pleasurable. Okay? There are many behavioral tools we can hack. Okay? There are many behavioral tools we can do to hack this dopamine, acetylcholine, and epinephrine equation. We spoke about 2 ways to hack into the epinephrine equation on this channel. We spoke about breathwork and we spoke about cold exposure. We spoke about neuroplasticity and how to get into neuroplasticity, you need to get alert. I'm connecting the dots here, yeah? What about dopamine? What about acetylcholine? Well, there are certain foods, which is today's topic, the diet. There are certain foods that increase your dopamine levels naturally. Okay, when I mean naturally, I mean, I'm not talking about, oh yeah, you take sugar and then spikes, and no, I'm talking about the precursors of dopamine. Okay, the precursor of dopamine is the amino acid L-tyrosine. Okay, L-tyrosine. 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 L-tyrosine is an amino acid found in lots of meat. Okay, meat, some dairy products as well. When you ingest that, your body synthesizes L-tyrosine and uses it to make dopamine. Okay. Now, with acetylcholine, remember we said it's responsible for where your attention is directed. With acetylcholine, drinking coffee, caffeinated beverages, coffee, caffeinated tea, will yield an increase in your acetylcholine. Okay. Also, liver, some meat as well, also increases your acetylcholine levels. Okay. We spoke about how carbs mess up your brain. Okay, majority of these processed carbs mess up your brain, the brain fog. In very old video of ours, carbs are making you brain dead. So we spoke about how to increase adrenaline with the cold exposure and breath work. We talk about how to increase dopamine with L-tyrosine. Also, let me just give you a quick tip. Dopamine system is very fascinating. So, study was done, and I'm going to misquote the study, but the general gist is what you need to know. Okay, they took a group of people and they electrocuted them. Okay, they electrocuted them. So to quantify it, let's quantify. So dopamine levels at the beginning of the study before electrocuting was 50 points. Okay, 50 points was the level. Now, when they got electrocuted, dopamine went down. So baseline was 50 dopamine points. Baseline was 50. It went down to 25 points. okay, after being electrocuted and after they stopped being electrocuted, like a small shock, okay, a small shock. I'm not talking about being no, just a small shock. After they were done being electrocuted with that small shock, dopamine levels went above 50. So 50, 25, then 75. Okay. Now, what can we take from this? For every peak, there's a crash. There's a trough. For every peak, there's a trough, and for every trough, there's a peak. Understood? Let me put this into a practical scenario for you. I'm having a caffeine craving for coffee. I'm having caffeine craving for coffee. I visualize me making the cup of coffee. Okay, I visualize me making the cup of coffee. That will cause my dopamine. So let's say my dopamine baseline is 50. Now we have this line. My dopamine levels are spiking. Okay, they're spiking. I don't act on it. Okay, I don't act on it. They go to 75. I don't act on it. Because I don't act on it, it goes down. But it doesn't stop here to baseline. It goes below baseline to 40. Now that it's at 40, I have this impulse. Okay, this impulse, this urge to soothe my caffeine craving and to soothe this trough. This happens subconsciously. You don't think about this. So to soothe this trough, okay? So I get out of this room, I make my cup of coffee, dopamine levels rise, and they rise to baseline. And if my cup of coffee was absolutely amazing, it'll go above baseline. If it wasn't absolutely amazing, just a mediocre cup, it will just stay baseline here. So you see the peak, the trough. The trough is responsible for you giving the impulse to go. Okay, now with cold exposure, when you do this cold exposure, before you baseline the 50, yeah, before you get into the cold, it doesn't, it's not, it's painful, very, very painful. Dopamine dips, okay, you come out, dopamine rises, but not only to baseline, it shoots up to 200. So, and conversely, it's true, if I eat a bowl of Cocoa Pops mixed with Nutella, that's very pleasurable, very, very instant gratification, very instantly gratifying. I eat that, dopamine spikes, okay, from baseline, an unnatural spike, by the way, spikes from baseline 50, spikes to 200, drops not to baseline, below baseline. So if I have this constant, through instant gratification activity, scrolling, watching TikTok, it gives you instant pleasure, but your dopamine levels always goes below baseline. Suddenly my baseline just drops. So it's normal 50, now it's 40. Okay, now it's 40. I do that again and again. Now it's 30, now it's 20, now it's 10, then it's 0. Suddenly my baseline dopamine levels are messed up. Hence the phrase dopamine receptors fried. Okay, the reverse is true. When I get into the cold exposure, so 50, then dip, 40, then suddenly 200. This goes to the gym, meditation, breath work, all these delayed gratification, pain now, pleasure in the future, all of that will raise my dopamine baseline from 50 to 100. And suddenly my dopamine baseline is at 100, whilst yours is at 20. If you're interested in the topic of focus and you want to improve your focus, click the link in the description. I'm offering my product for 50% off, and I'm launching a pre-launch. So I won't give you the full product because it's not ready yet, because I need your help. I need you to give me feedback on where to improve and what to add. Okay, I can only do the one-to-one coaching calls. Okay, so click the link in the description below and go to my sales page. Over and out.